Oh, hello, and welcome to How Now.
How now?
How
now? This is how now.
How now?
How now?
We're really excited to talk with you a little bit about the history of torn space and the symbology and the mythology that is being created down at Silo City over the past several years. Can you give our audience a little bit of background on the foundation of Torn Space?
Dan Shanahan and I co-founded Torn Space in the early 2000s. We've been working out of the Adam Mickiewicz Dramatic Circle on Fillmore Avenue. In 2007, we were given the opportunity to create a show for the Central Terminal. And this was the first sort of unveiling of that space back to the public. And that was really our first opportunity to create a site-specific work. And that was our first large-scale community project, too. With so much love for that building, we were able to perform for our largest audiences that we ever had before. So on that first night that we opened, there were just hundreds of people lined up, and it was really exciting to see that there was an audience for this sort of work, for avant-garde site-specific performance, when it was located in these sort of beloved spaces. So that started a real interest for Dan and I in creating site-specific work. And then in 2012, I believe, we worked with a group of artists, and we were the first performance down at Silo City. And that was called American Grain. And we worked collaboratively with other local artists in Buffalo, and we created a piece for the Marine A grain elevators. At that point, Silo City was literally dark. There was absolutely, even the sort of rough infrastructure that there is now, there was no electricity. Everything had to be brought in by generators. We didn't even have sort of lights for our audience as they left. But again, there was a huge response from the public who really engaged with this sort of work. Our adventurous Buffalo audience, which has a great history of avant-garde support and tradition here in the city.
For sure.
And then, right? I mean, it's always been an adventurous, authentic city, I think. I mean, I myself moved here in '99 and was just taken by its authenticity, and it's being a place where artists can really make work and not just try to live to work and then try to make their work on the side.
The work is specifically at Silo City, so that's been going on for, as you said, 8 years. But there's been there's a transition, right, between the first show in 2012 to the later series of shows or performances that's more based around a central, almost like microcosmic society.
Every August, the Society enacts an early harvest ritual. They started with motion picture out in the playing fields in front of the American, and then moved into Storehouse, and then really sort of solidifying their ritual work in They Kill Things. So each year, there's a sort of mulling over of the year's yield, what has happened to us as a nation, what has happened to us globally, and what has happened to the society on a familial level. And from there, we sort of cull some themes that we want to enact into rituals to allow the audience to sort of experience those events communally. So for example, in They Kill Things, this was the year that we were seeing a lot of televised graphic images of ritual killing, specifically from ISIS. This is, if you remember, where sometimes prisoners were lined up in orange suits, and there was this real graphic level, like almost artistic level of murder that was being portrayed to the community at large, to the global community. So the society sort of went back into the historical recesses, and they reenacted some of their historical beginnings that began violently. And it was both an acknowledgement of the ritualized killing that we were all experiencing on a global level, as well as a celebration that we could be enacting these as reenactments, as works of art, rather than as actual works. So we lost a lot of audience actually during that one because it was pretty intense. And
it was, yeah, that was an intense one for sure.
And people who maybe had only come to see our work that time, I think mistook that for a sort of darker aspect of us that is not always present in our work, but which is a part of human existence. And that is why that particular piece was about the sort of the fact that human beings do kill, both out of necessity, sometimes for food, and then also out of our territorial sense.
Yeah, for sure. You have this like incredible way of bringing in a lot of different artists, a lot of different people from the community. How do you source your actors? How do you create the tableaus in the working process?
The society has kept a core membership over the years, and then sometimes new people are sort of brought in depending on the needs of what needs to be enacted for the ritual. We work with community members. We've worked with blacksmithers or soldiers, reenact historical war reenactments. Last year we worked with a farmer because we wanted to be able to serve milk and have audience be able to have the experience of milking a cow. We really like to cross-pollinate like that, to bring people who are in other areas of the community perform their sort of daily work in a different setting.
When we start to look about like where we are collectively as a country, another pandemic of systemic racism, and how do we create a situation where the representation is put in a way that is focused on equality.
With this year, we've had such glaring sort of displays of the inequity in the world that those of us who have been paying attention have been aware of, but at least it's been on a larger scale, more awareness. So for example, when the protests began with the killing of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, Black Lives Matter, has been an argument since 2013, but it was like finally people were understanding the importance of those three words. And sometimes there's so many words that we find things to lose meaning, and yet the argument of those three words has been able to continue to change consciousness that has been an ongoing struggle for people to be aware of, right?
Sure.
Over, this sort of one of our great human sins of slavery doesn't get solved without real work and attention, and it's a continued battle that we all are paying for, because I do think it's a sickness and a disease that sort of gets inherited and traumatizes both the racist person as well as the people that are receiving that. So I think it takes a lot of deep undoing, and so seeing each other, right, is part of that undoing. And that's again one of the lines in there that our souls are the same. And sometimes we just maybe need reminding of this, that the separations we've created, and in order to really move forward, we need to think about all of humanity.
I was talking to my friend about this the other day, just as far as like the power of the imagination and what it's taken for some people to break through, just how, there are certain people that just defy the odds and they break their mind as far as what the possibilities of their life should be. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think for myself, coming from Buffalo, coming from the east side of Buffalo, whatever things I saw as being stacked against me, at a certain point in my life, I was able to look at the things around me. And I think just being able to look at life as a game and make what you want it to be, taking my situation and creating what I want from it, I think is the power that I like, the power of manifestation, seeing something in your mind, believing in it beyond a doubt, and then conquering that outside, the fear that's inside of yourself and that you may get from the outside world. Like when I moved from Buffalo to New York, I think my biggest fear was just like, how am I going to live? Where am I going to live? How am I going to survive? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
how is my body going to make it? How am I going to eat? Where am I going to sleep at? Like, this the primal shit. And then when you realize that, like, those things you're going to always be able to do as long as you have sound body and mind and your spirit is good. I feel like that's the power of the imagination, being able to tap into yourself. And that's really the power of the creatives in this time, because the world is like, what have I been called? The world is like going through Babylon. Like New York, I feel like it's Babylon. Los Angeles is like the end of the earth. And it's like, you see these people lost here, but I feel like right now the world is in a place where the power of the creatives is the new business. You know what I'm saying? Where United States is a corporation, so everything here has been ran off of like competition and capitalizing off of opportunity and skill. And now I feel like money doesn't mean anything. We learning the true value of our our personal energy, our actual energy, and the power of people moving together. When you look at all the systems in place that keep us believing in money, I feel like those things are breaking down slowly because of the shit that's happening in the world, or because of the sense of awareness. Like, it's a greater sense of awareness among the people because of the situations that people are going through individually in their lives. And those circumstances are bringing people together.
When you get to a situation where, there's self-doubt and, generational trauma involved, then I think that you're getting into a situation where that does take a lot of commitment to the pain. And it's so hard to figure out what you actually commit to. If you commit to your artistry, or if you commit to, the sadness of circumstance, or if you commit to optimism and hope.
And it's all been just like a test. That's what I believe life is. It's a series of cycles, and it's all one big test of yourself and how well you dealing with what it is. Like when you speaking of pain, I think about pain like a body. Like that's another person inside of me that I had to tend to. I had to pay attention and acknowledge my pain in order to fully walk in my own light and to fully appreciate my happiness, or what I have on the happy side of things. It's just so much feeling. It's hard to explain it, and that's where the art comes from.
Yeah.
Because the art is like the thought that comes after everything. Like, oh man, I just felt this. How do I tell somebody what kept me moving or what pushed me? And then it's like these signs, the symbols from life that we all see, like the colors and fucking shapes and shit. And it's like, all right, how do I point people to what was giving me life?